honestly had a pretty good year so far from that nickel spot. He's played well above average as far as what he's been asked to do. But Jesse Bates comes in, forces the fumble at one point, and he continues to be a guy that this Atlanta Falcons defense can kind of lean on to make sure that you step up in big-time situations. But unfortunately, no interceptions for anybody coming out of the back end today.
Foye Oluokun, by the way, the former Falcon, he led Jacksonville in tackles today. He had 9. Dave Archer is in the Falcons locker room. He's standing by with the head coach and Arthur Smith. We'll get to that coming up next. This is the Mercedes-Benz postgame show here on the Atlanta Falcons Radio Network.
Some say New York had the greatest lineup ever back in 27. Though Woodstock in 69 was pretty spectacular. And then it was Chicago in 98. But perhaps the most impressive ever is the full line of Mercedes-Benz electric vehicles. Choose from a growing list of models, like the versatile EQB, the stunning EQS, or the roomier EQS SUV. Go to your local dealer or MBUSA.com to learn more. Mercedes-Benz, official vehicle of your Atlanta Falcons.
This is our home, and at Georgia Power, we believe every Georgian deserves a clean energy future. A future that includes around-the-clock nuclear energy, producing zero emissions. And thanks to the dedication of thousands of team members, we've recently completed the newest nuclear unit at Plant Vogtle, a unit that will serve our customers with reliable energy for generations to come. Learn more at georgiapower.com/Vogtle. That's georgiapower.com/VOGTLE.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Guys, music can inspire us. Let the concert quality sound system at Zoom Indoor Cycling help push you harder than you ever thought possible. No matter if you're a beginner or an experienced rider, you'll ride top-of-the-line Stages SC3 bikes as the most talented instructors in North Alabama motivate you to reach your goals.
You can do it!
Guys, time to find out what you're made of. Challenge your friends or just challenge yourself and get in shape at Zoom Indoor Cycling. Visit ZoomHSV.com to find out more.
$2 specialty shoe rental per ride for new riders.
The Huntsville area is one of the fastest growing areas in the United States, and with growth comes challenges. That's where the professionals at Gillette Land Development come in. If you need dirt, gravel, and sand, Gillette Land Development can provide all your hauling needs. Site preparation, Gillette Land Development can handle it. Custom home building, you guessed it, Gillette Land Development. Call Gillette Land Development today, 256-957-2111, 256-957-2111. That's Gillette Land Development, 256-957-2111.
Guys, music can inspire us. Let the concert quality sound system at Zoom Indoor Cycling help push you harder than you ever thought possible. No matter if you're a beginner or an experienced rider, you'll ride top-of-the-line Stages SC3 bikes as the most talented instructors in North Alabama motivate you to reach your goals.
You can do it!
Guys, time to find out what you're made of. Challenge your friends or just challenge yourself and get in shape at Zoom Indoor Cycling. Visit ZoomHSV.com to find out more.
$2 specialty shoe rental per ride for new riders.
Welcome to the Bama Recap Show, presented by Freedom Marine Center. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Drew DeArmond and Steve Moulton.
To the right of Will Rogers. Rogers getting the snap, swings it out for the bubble screen, and the bubble gets burst. Mercy, what a hit on Tulu Griffin from the Crimson Tide's Malachi Moore. Tied into the left side for Alabama on 1st and 10 from their own 47. Milroe tucks it, runs, a lot of room, 45-40, foot race, 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown Alabama. Jalen Milroe, 53 yards, and the Crimson Tide gets on the board first. They'll shift to tight end to the right side and bring a wide receiver to that side as well. 2 on the play clock as they snap it. Pass deflected, intercepted. Bama's got it at the 25. Still on their feet. 10, 5, touchdown Alabama. Chris Braswell with the pick on the deflection from Jamarian Latham, and the Crimson Tide takes a 13-0 lead. To the right. Snap. Milroe looking, firing, man is there. Nyblack catches it, first down, out of bounds, in-state territory, stopping the clock with 3:27 to go in the half. This would be, what, his 4th kick of the night? High snap. Good job getting it down. The kick is up. It's got enough leg, and it is good. Boy, an assist there from Burnip on a slightly high snap.
Those are the calls from Chris Stewart. The Bama Recap Show presented by Freedom Marine Center, along with Drew DeArm and Steve Moulton here with you. It was a late night in Stark Vegas. Boy, Mississippi State really wanted that football right before halftime. They really wanted that football right before halftime. Be careful what you wish for with that Bama defense. Good morning, Drew DeArmond.
Good to be with you, Steve. It was a good win for Alabama on the road. Milroe's first road start. A little bit of a slow start, literally. Alabama,
did not attempt to pass until the second quarter.
Right. I mean, they had a couple passes called. Then, as I tweeted out during the game, the first 2 sacks were completely on Milroe. I mean, the offensive line did a great job.
Yeah.
They gave him an hour and a half to throw. He won't get rid of the football. He refuses to throw the football away for whatever reason and live to fight another down. But again, I guess it's called the growth of a quarterback. And, to me, Alabama's trying to hide the quarterback. I'll just be honest with you. But, I mean, he did do some good things with his feet when he finally decided to reluctantly run. And I mean, the 53-yard touchdown we just heard from Chris Stewart, that was not a called run play.
I asked Jalen about that.
Yeah.
We'll hear from Jalen Milroe.
And so he took off and outran a couple angles, and you could see the middle of the field was wide open. I mean, as soon as he took off, you could see the play developing. And as fast as he is and as great an athlete as Jalen Milroe, as everyone can see, you knew he was very, very likely going to be gone, and
yes.
He was gone. And to be honest, he got most of his rushing yards in the game on 2 plays in the first half, and then he also scored again when he ran.
Yeah.
Near the end of halftime after the interception by Jihad Campbell.
Yeah.
So he did some good things in the game, but the ball's still coming out slowly as far as throwing the ball. The first game ball you have to give is to the offensive line
1,000%,
because they did a great job. I mean, they got a couple penalties, but again, it was one of those things. And I'm not under no delusions. I know Mississippi State's not very good, and they had a banged up defensive front, but they were still able to give Milroe plenty of time to throw and do his thing. And and I thought there was a couple more times that Milroe honestly should have taken off, but
he's still learning.
But
he's still learning.
But he did, where he was able to complete 10 out of 12. He was very efficient, and he didn't have any disastrous turnovers.
Yeah,
I mean,
huge.
Alabama did almost turn it over a couple times with the errant snap, which I don't know. I don't know who you can blame that on, because that was just the center and the quarterback not being on the same page, because Milroe's trying to line the wide receiver up, and then the snap is totally unexpected. That's just something that can be easily fixed. Now, Kool-Aid was very fortunate because he should have fair caught the punt and nearly fumbled it back to Mississippi State. But just like when they lost to Texas, and Texas was able to recover all 3 fumbles, Alabama was able to recover and then control the football, and they controlled the line of scrimmage, and they won the game 40-17.
So I believe Charlie Potter is the one that asked Nick Saban in the postgame about lining up under center. And I know it's not his first time
doing
doing
so. No, it was Tony Tsoukalas.
Was it Tony?
Yeah,
okay,
because as Saban said, you've asked this more than once, so you're under the center guy.
My apologies. Thank you.
Yeah, it was Tone.
Can we not – I know there's limited time with these kids. Can we not just – by the way, I'm not just talking about Bama. I'm talking about high school too.
Yeah.
I'm talking all across the board. Can we not spend a day on the Philadelphia play? Just a day. I'm not saying spend, hours upon hours. Just a day.
Well, they did run the quarterback sneak one time, and well, dadgum, they got 2 yards and a first down. But I mean, on these 4th and 1s, if you're going to run the quarterback, I think you should. Like the most maddening one, it got blown dead because it was one of the few penalties they got on the offense. But they tried to run a quarterback sweep, a slow developing quarterback sweep on like 4th and 1, and I'm like, what in the blue hell is that?
I'm sure Auburn would like to
3rd and 1.
Redo a 4th and 1, I believe, at the Georgia 22 in the second quarter. And I'm sure they would have enjoyed having some points there.
I mean, just sneak it. I don't understand.
And I know hindsight's 20/20. I get that. But I was talking to someone in the press box at Auburn saying even if this works, it's a dumb play. The 4th and 1 that didn't work. And I did go to both the Georgia Auburn game and then booked it over, as Drew would say, only Tokyo Drift style that I can.
I mean,
scooted
I
over
wondered
to
how.
Mississippi
I mean, it's
State.
4 hours.
Yeah, no.
Well, now it makes sense though. If you left at halftime, everybody was still in the stadium, so you could just book it. You know,
exactly.
You're not there. Ain't gonna be no traffic.
And trust me, I really appreciate. I got to know. I had the full 82 experience, meaning I hopped on 82 in our capital city, Montgomery, and just kind of wound my way to Mississippi State. So,
what flavor ice cream did you have?
It was Ripple.
Oh, good.
I'm telling you,
they have their own dairy and everything.
You better
so
believe
creamery,
it.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really good.
Gary Harris, who
how many did he have, by the way?
I think I saw 2. So Gary is I didn't know this. He's an intermittent faster, and he said, "Man, I've been planning out my whole day for this ice cream." So it is really good ice cream. It is, but better than the ice cream is this Bama defense, and this Bama defense is ball hawking abilities, and they changed the schemes on offense. And Will Rogers looked pedestrian, although something happened last night in Starkville that hasn't happened since 2014, rather.
Yeah.
And that is a passing touchdown by a Mississippi State quarterback. It was Dak Prescott, and then jump to last night with Will Rogers.
Well, that's why they named the dog after Dak now. You know, the mascot. His name's Dak. But I mean, I was surprised they actually threw it on that down. They had a lot of success running the ball, and like Nick Saban said afterward, I mean, they were
committed to the run.
They were much more committed to the run than Alabama expected, and Alabama was trying to go, nickel, and well, really more dime. They were trying to go dime and get more DBs on the field, and even on 3rd and 8s, they were running the football and having success. And even that's with Woody Marks being banged up. So Alabama's going to have to shore that up a little bit. I thought it was a good, not great defensive performance. But
really.
Yeah, I mean, because they gave up too much via the run.
Well, maybe you're judging them off of what they did against Ole Miss last week.
I just didn't think
that
were sound
was
enough
a better
against the run.
Overall performance. Yeah. So, but I mean, this is why it was a different scheme look, and it's something that they weren't fully prepared for. That at least that's the message that I got from Coach Saban. Now, I did want to set the table here for you. We're on usually from 11 to noon. You know that if you're watching and listening right now. It's cranking up nearly noon right now, and we are going to walk you up to Braves baseball. We just got through with Falcon football, and the Falcons start off 2-0. Now they're 2-2. We'll see whether or not they can grab a win. Anyway, I digress with the Falcons.
Tanking for Knicks.
Boy.
Are they tanking for Knicks?
Oh, boy. Very well could be. Very well could be. But Braves baseball pregame will start at 12:55, meaning we have a full hour for you right here, beginning right now. So you can call in to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline at 256-576-4977. That is the telephone number. And coming up on the doorstep, we're going to talk about this more later, is those Aggies of Texas A&M. Listen to a lot of that game on the way down on our airwaves.
They dominated
that
game.
Did. They really did. Although a pick six early in the second half made it a tad more interesting than the final score would be perceived. Hogs certainly had an opportunity. Arkansas is traveling to Ole Miss. And how about what the Rebel Black Bear Land Sharks did yesterday with the team from Baton Rouge?
In regulation, man. I mean, it was Matt House versus Pete Golding. Boy, it was some tremendous defense. It was two really good offenses playing, but it's the same Ole Miss offense Alabama completely shut down and was just romping up and down the field on LSU. And if you want to see some great television / YouTube, please go check out the Whiskey and Wine recap after our show.
I really meant to listen to that on my way home.
I listened to it going to sleep last night. Now, okay, for all you young people out there that are under 18.
Yeah, Whiskey and Wine.
Just brace yourself for T-Bob, but I'm just telling you.
I can So my phone was getting blown up on my way home, so I was in full dialogue rolling in at 3:30 in the morning. Anyway, here's a little bit of Nick Saban post-game late last night in Stark Vegas. I promise I have Coach Saban. I promise.
So I know that there's a lot of things that we can improve on, but I also think that there's a lot of good things that we need to build on. And I think there's signs of the way we played in the second half against Ole Miss, and at times the way we played in this game tonight, where we just got to build on that. We're not where we want to be. We're not where we need to be. Players have to be committed to continuing to try to stack on the improvements that we're making at every position, and do a better job. Obviously, we didn't play the run as well as we'd like to, tonight, but they were more committed to running it than we thought they'd be, especially on third down. And but I think that when the defense started out great and finished the game great, got 3 turnovers, and I think the offense controlled the line of scrimmage and played pretty well. I think, Jalen was efficient, but there are still times where, I think with more confidence he'll even be more consistent. And his ability to make plays with his feet is always something that can be a great benefit to us. So I believe in this team. I like this team. We're got some guys beat up, and it hurts us a little bit. Lawson, signal caller out there. Tresman Marshall did a really good job, but Jihad's a little inexperienced. Those 2 guys playing together has been really good for us. So I don't know when those guys will be back, so don't even ask. Probably won't know until midweek. But nobody really banged up bad tonight that I know about. So, but I'm just, this is a tough game for us. It always is. We've been coming over here for lots of years, and we've had a lot of tough games, and it was a physical, tough game tonight, and I'm proud of our players for the way they finished and the way we competed in the game.
Guys, raise your hand. Nick? You had some moments in the first half where you seemed pretty animated on the sideline. What was behind that for you, and kind of how do you think that helped things?
Well, Miss Terry told me if we're not playing good to get on their butt. So I just did what I was told.
Right here.
Hey, Coach, you guys score your first non-offensive touchdown of the year with that pick 6 early in the first half. How much pressure does that take off the offense when you guys can get in the end zone defensively?
Well, I think it was great. We had great field position early in the game. James had a 60-some yard punt or whatever, which was helpful. I think scoring on defense is always something that players dream about, think about, always want to do, so it was good to see. Hopefully we can keep getting turnovers and not turning the ball over. We had a couple balls on the ground tonight that we didn't lose, so ball security is really important, but if you're going to score on defense, you got to get turnovers. And Braz did a great job on that one. We ran pressure into the boundary. He was playing defensive end. He dropped to the field. I think it probably confused the quarterback a little bit. And he did a great job. Big play in the game.
Coach, you mentioned that Jalen was efficient tonight, but you want to see more confidence instilled in him. What does that look like from you, and what does he need to do specifically to instill more confidence?
Well, I think he's building more confidence every day. I think he's played better in each game, and I think he'll continue to do that as he gets experience. I think we're all a little smarter as we get older because we have more experience. So, and I think, as he gains more experience, he's going to gain more confidence. He's very committed and preparing the right way and doing the things that he needs to do to be able to play well in a game. And I think as he gets a more comfortable understanding defense, he'll be able to make quicker decisions, and he's going to be fine.
Coach Chase right here.
Coach, I know you don't like to talk about offensive linemen individually until you've seen tape, but as a group, did you have the sense that they played their best game or one of their best games?
Oh, they played really well. Those guys, even you all can tell that they were plugging and stunting a lot, right? That's what I told you they'd do. and that's really tough on offensive linemen when you have to block movement and pluggers all the time. And I think the offensive line did a fantastic job of controlling the line of scrimmage. I don't know what we ended up rushing for, but, you know, and I think that's important to our team to have that kind of balance.
Tony? Right here. There were several short yard situations where you either went out of the gun or the pistol. Is that something that you like, and why not?
You know, I watch games on TV, you know, and everybody's in a gun. You know, some people never get under center. I think, you know, when we're in a gun, we clap. Players get in a rhythm. When you get under center, you have to go on voice command. And it was pretty loud out there on a couple of those occasions. And I think we had some things that we wanted to do in short yardage with the quarterback under, but I think we're a little apprehensive about using verbal cadence. So, you know, when I played, everybody was in an I formation and the quarterback was under center. You know, we watched a movie last night called The Program, which was like 30 years ago, which I played 30 years before that. And that's the only formation there was in the whole game, was I formation, quarterback under center. So now the quarterback's never under center. And so you got to worry about getting the snap, and you got to worry about voice command. But I do think there is a place in short yardage situations where the quarterback being under center and not handing the ball off, you know, 5 yards deep in the backfield. But you can't allow penetration like we did either. So it still comes down to executing. All them other plays that we ran in the game that made, how many yards do we have rushing?
193.
193. We're in a gun every time. Explain that to me. You've asked about this 2 times in a row, so I know you're a quarterback under center guy.
Go to Nick.
Who was the defensive signal caller tonight in replacing Deontay, and how did he do?
Trez did. Trez did it. He did fine. We had a couple of mistakes on with the backers on, you know, when they run sliders and the tight end comes across the backfield. Depending on what the defense is and what the fit is, everybody's got to know, how do I slide back in my gap and who takes the guy? Well, a couple times, one time for sure, we didn't take him. A couple other times we took them when we weren't supposed to take them. So that linebacker that was taking them should have been playing a gap. So, and that comes with experience. But Trez did a really good job in the game. I was really pleased with him. He's been a really good addition for us. He's got maturity. He's an older guy. He doesn't get rattled out there. He's got a lot of mental toughness, and he's been a really solid player for us all year.
Finish here with Austin.
Yeah, Coach, it's not very common to go against the same quarterback 4 times. You've seen Will Rogers 4 times, and he's averaged under 200 yards and had 8 interceptions in those 4 starts. What do you think your team has done so well over the last 4 years to kind of limit him?
Well, he's a really good player. I didn't really realize what you just said, but he's a really good player. You know, the last couple of years, when they were always in 4 wideouts, we did all kinds of junk, you know, where you knew they were going to pass. Well, we had some of that junk dialed up for them tonight, and they ran the ball every time on 3rd and 8 and made a first down. So I just think the guy's an outstanding player. I got a tremendous amount of respect for him. I thought our players did a good job of not allowing them to have explosive plays, you know, and I especially throwing, because that was my concern going into the game. I was concerned about, can we stop them running, which we didn't do a very good job of, but they ran the ball in some situations that we didn't think they would. And we were able to limit the explosive plays that he made in the game. And I think early pressure on him was a positive thing for us.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Can we all just say thank you, Miss Terry? Can we just all say thank you, Miss Terry? 256-576-4977 is the telephone number. Bama B. Rich is calling in to the Bama Recap Show presented by Freedom Marine Center. Good morning.
What's up, fellas?
What's going on, man?
Hey, it was nice to see the reemergence of Angry Nick yesterday at the game. He was chewing on some butts out there. He's been well missed. But yeah, fellas, I don't want to ever kind of scroll over the fact that it's hard to go on the road and win in the SEC. I mean, that was very impressive anytime, and we have even a tougher task going on the road next weekend down to A&M. But Drew, man, like, it's so frustrating, and I know we're stats guys, you and I are stats guys. I don't know that there's a stat for this out there, but how many yards do you think that Milroe has accounted for on balls where he goes out of bounds or he runs out of bounds? He refuses to throw it 20 yards. You know, we used to give Jalen a hard time.
Yeah, roll it right and throw it out of bounds. Yeah.
Roll right and throw it out of bounds. I mean, I noticed on that first series it stuck out like a sore thumb, but as we go deeper and deeper into this season, I mean, we're sitting in some 3rd and 14s and 15s when we should be sitting at 3rd and 4 and 3rd and 5. And you know how the percentage goes down, the tougher, those down and distances are. It seems like such a basic, quarterback instinct for me to, roll, and especially with him being as mobile as he is, if it's not there, to do, just chunk it up in the stands. And eventually I'm afraid that's going to rear its ugly head somewhere down the road. But I do think, I do kind of keep reminding myself, he's only a handful of starts in, he's starting on the road and stuff like that. But, I don't know if he's hung up on his, completion percentage. That was a big thing they kept hounding last night was, he's efficient with the ball. But that's a little misleading in my eyes because, his stats may be 10 of 12.
Yeah.
But, I would sacrifice a few more incompletions for the yards, for the hidden yardage that we're missing. So, going on the road this week, I'm worried about that because A&M's playing really, really good ball now. And even though the defense, that old saying, defense travels, it traveled last night, I am worried that, Lawson if he's not able to go this weekend, that's going to be difficult. But it is going to be a difficult task. But I don't know. It's just, Drew, what's your thoughts on his ability to not throw it away?
Well, I mean, I just don't think he's a natural quarterback, and what I mean by that is he doesn't play with a quarterback's instinct. He's an athlete who's always been trying to make himself into a pocket QB. It goes all the way back to his days in high school, and I know someone that spoke with he and his father regularly, and he would always ask Jalen, because as he told me, you can see Jalen's athletic ability. You see how fast he is. He didn't want to run willingly in high school, and the middle of the field would be wide open. And you can imagine the way he runs away. Like last night, his 53-yard touchdown, he outran the angle of two guys, just split them.
Yeah.
He didn't want to willingly run in high school. He told my guy, who's the best source I have in recruiting, he said, my father and I want to be Tom Brady. We want to be a pocket quarterback.
That's never going to happen.
Exactly.
You and I both know that.
Exactly. So. And that's what he told me. He said.
So the only thing I'll say is never is a long time.
Yeah, I mean,
never is a long. So,
but I'm just talking about his mentality.
How steep is the learning curve? Vary, but never is a long time.
Well, I'm just telling you that's
guys can get better.
They can get better, but I'm just talking about his mentality, and it's why he continues to take sacks when he should be taking off. And like Richie said, getting 4 or 5 yards, keeping you ahead of the sticks. Because Jalen Hurts used to do that at least. At times, he would take a loss, maybe roll right, run out of bounds for a yard or two.
Yeah.
But most of the time, he would take off, get 3 or 4 yards, or he would just throw it out of bounds. And then it's 2nd and 10, not 2nd and 15.
Yeah.
You don't lose any yardage.
Yeah.
Because Jalen has to understand there was a couple of times last night he was outside the pocket, just throw it out of bounds and live to fight another down.
Yeah.
And he just – the things that nothing he does is natural. And what I mean by that is when he doesn't use his running ability naturally like you would think. It always looks like it's forced. And then when you watch him go through progressions, it's slow. He doesn't get rid of the ball quickly. And again, it's just one of those things. And even when running the zone read, everybody wants to ask, well, guess what? Last night they really didn't even run it at all. And the reason they don't is because a lot of times he'll pull it when he should hand it off, or he'll hand it off when he should pull it. He doesn't do it naturally, because you would think, as great an athlete as he is, that would be a bread and butter play.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you watch the Auburn-Georgia game, which I did,
the RPO,
their RPOs looked really natural.
Yes.
And that was the way they moved the ball against Georgia, was a lot of that misdirection and deception.
Yeah.
Alabama doesn't have a lot of that, because they just – even on the play where I tweeted, well, that's where he should have pulled it and run, it was not a called RPO. They just wanted to run it straight ahead and put it in the tailback's hands and just be vanilla. It's almost like they're trying to hide the quarterback. And, again, to me, it's like B. Rich said, eventually you can't. You're going to have to – the quarterback's going to have to be able to throw the ball. I mean, Alabama – I'm just guesstimating here. I know officially he was 10 of 12. They probably called 16 or 17 passes.
Yeah.
Heck, Alabama used to throw that many passes in three possessions in the first quarter. Okay.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
they would throw the ball around.
This is not Jalen Hurts. This is not
but
Tua. This is not
it isn't
Mac. This is not
it is,
Bryce.
No, it's not. But you're going to have to progress. And I think there's quarterbacks behind him that can throw the ball if you would try to develop them.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Ty Simpson wasn't emotionally ready to roll, and then they don't want to go with a true freshman in Dylan Lonergan, who's never played in a game, because Milroe does have a little bit of experience. And Milroe is tantalizing because he is an outstanding athlete. And if he would use that said athletic ability, then I think Alabama could be tough to defend, because they still have enough weapons around him. But again, he's just – I'll just say this: Jalen Milroe is as raw a quarterback. I got a text this morning from a media member that I truly respect, probably as much as any in the business. And he went back and researched it. He said, "This is Danny Woodson," is what he said, 1991, and he eventually lost the job to Jay Barker. But he said he went back and looked at a box score when Alabama beat your Dogs, I think in '91.
Yeah.
And he went 13 of 17 passing. A lot of short stuff and quick. And he could throw the ball deep, too. And Danny was an unbelievable athlete. I mean, he could run like a 4.5 back in the day. He was even bigger than Milroe. But, again, he had trouble processing stuff. And I just want to see the progress, and we haven't seen it yet. And we've seen a little bit. I'll give him some credit last night where he kept plays alive with his feet and kept his eyes downfield and did deliver the ball. I still think they were late. And against a better football team, because I'll be honest with you, I was wrong about Mississippi State in the preseason.
Me too.
They're terrible. They're the worst team in the
They're
West
awful.
in my. I mean, their secondary is terrible. And like B. Rich said, I told a friend of mine last night as I was watching the game, I said, I'm gonna give you a quote from Smokey and the Bandit, bruh. Hold on to your ass, because next week is gonna be tough. I was like, because those dudes, they're going to load the box, and if they can take Alabama's running game away and make Milroe have to throw, Lord, man, it's going to be really interesting. I'm going to be interested to see how Alabama attacks Texas A&M, because Texas A&M has a lot of talent. And again, they're not missing much with Max Johnson at quarterback. He obviously has played well.
Yeah.
They're not, just because they lost Connor Wegman, oh, boo-hoo-hoo.
No,
they're
Max
still
is
really good.
Yeah, Max is really good. Anything else?
Go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, a couple other things I was going to say. I believe that Reese and the offensive guys that are putting the game plan, they've shown steps. They're making steps from what we saw against Texas, where we were all getting frustrated. I feel like they're trying to tailor this offense to put Milroe in situations to be successful. But like Drew said, he's just so unnatural on those few passing plays where we ask him to come off his primary read and go through his progressions. He just looks like a deer in the headlights, like scared to death.
I would just say, listen, it's a 40-17 road win, and he is still learning. So I think there'd be a bigger blowback had it been 40-17 in the other direction, and him throwing 4 to 5 picks, because
he'd never play again if that happened.
Well, what has been consistent up until yesterday was those oh-no throws. They might be with him in the back of his brain for all we know. But he at least, I don't think, put the ball in too much danger last night.
No, I mean, he didn't. He did some good things. There's no question about that.
I thought there was a big I thought there was a decent amount of progression. Was last night Jalen Milroe's best game at quarterback?
I don't
No.
know. I don't
What
think
was
so.
his best game at quarterback, B. Rich?
I mean, outside of the bad picks against Texas,
Well, you got to
play. He pushed the ball down the field. I don't think we took any shots down the field last night.
Yeah, it took like one.
That's the strength of his.
I thought I remembered one.
Yeah, maybe one, but there was nothing to Bond or maybe that one to Hale, maybe. That may have been about it. But usually we're trying to take 3 or 4 shots to Burton, Hale, Bond, any of those guys, and I didn't see any of that last night. So,
well,
I mean,
he had one horrendous interception, but I thought he played pretty well against Ole Miss. Even though some of those throws were late, but he threw some of them down the field. He took a big shot and still delivered it against Jalen Hale, which I
longest
thought was
completion was to Benson.
Yeah, and that was his first completion of the game. So, I mean, I just think overall he is progressing a little bit, but it's still one of those things where you're worried against a better opponent down the road. And I'll just be honest with you, A&M's better than Ole Miss.
Yes.
So, but also let's keep this in mind. The Texas game plan wasn't the South Florida game plan. The South Florida game plan wasn't the Ole Miss game plan. The Mississippi State game plan wasn't the Ole Miss plan. So they look different from game to game in terms of game plan. So just keep in mind the guy who's playing chess instead of checkers.
Well, and I'll just say this. They need to be repping him all the time at the zone read to where it's more natural for him and he can handle it, because against different opponents, you're going to have to use some of that deception and misdirection. They were good enough.
Maybe that'll be next week.
Well, maybe, but they were good enough against Mississippi State to just run it right at them.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I think they were very confident going in against Wild Turkey. I mean, who wouldn't be? Against that garbage.
Be Rich, we're right up against a break.
Appreciate the call, man.
I appreciate it, fellas. Hey, no more rise up. It's now fins up. See you, fellas.
He's giving up. Well, I told them at least they draft a quarterback.
It's the Bama Recap Show presented by Freedom Marine Center. We'll be right back.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com.
There's nothing like the freedom you feel when you're on the water in your own boat from Freedom Marine in Guntersville. New or used, Freedom Marine has just the boat to make your time on the water the best it can be. Pontoons, fishing, ski boats, you name it. And all season long, Freedom Marine is giving away 4 packs of Alabama football tickets. Just log on the Freedom Marine Facebook page and like, share, and comment to be eligible. New and used boats, outboard sales, financing, service, and parts. It's Freedom Marine. Highway 431 in Guntersville and online at freedommarincenter.com. Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Guys, music can inspire us. Let the concert quality sound system at Zoom Indoor Cycling help push you harder than you ever thought possible. No matter if you're a beginner or an experienced rider, you'll ride top-of-the-line Stages SC3 bikes as the most talented instructors in North Alabama motivate you to reach your goals.
You can do it!
Guys, time to find out what you're made of. Challenge your friends or just challenge yourself and get in shape at Zoom Indoor Cycling. Visit ZoomHSV.com to find out more.
$2 specialty shoe rental per ride for new riders.
Did you know the state's top-ranked private school is here in Huntsville? What about one of the nation's few Orton-Gillingham Academy accredited schools? At Randolph School, our experienced teachers and coaches challenge and nurture students as they prepare for college and life. Our pre-K through 12 school includes Greengate School at Randolph, serving students with dyslexia. Parents, we know that you are your child's biggest advocate, and we invite you to explore your education options. Schedule a tour at randolphschool.net.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. If you've been injured and need a lawyer right now, do you know who you really get?
I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. You want to talk to your lawyer. My clients talk to me.
And me. I'm attorney Justin Lackey. We're the ones that you talk to.
And we're the ones who handle your personal injury case.
And we'll take care of it.
The Lackey Law Firm. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
There's nothing like the freedom you feel when you're on the water in your own boat from Freedom Marine in Guntersville. New or used, Freedom Marine has just the boat to make your time on the water the best it can be. Pontoons, fishing, ski boats, you name it. And all season long, Freedom Marine is giving away 4 packs of Alabama football tickets. Just log on the Freedom Marine Facebook page and like, share, and comment to be eligible. New and used boats, outboard sales, financing, service, and parts. It's Freedom Marine. Highway 431 in Guntersville and online at freedommarincenter.com.
It's the Bama Recap Show, presented by Freedom Marine Center. Had a chance to talk a little bit to the Bama starting quarterback, Jalen Milroe. Enjoy.
Hereby out to have like a game like you just did?
I think honestly just came through preparation throughout the week, and acknowledging the tough opponent we're going to face this week. So we just took it one day at a time throughout the week, and then also just getting together with Coach Reach to build a great game plan. And so I think that's how successful we were just off of our preparation throughout the week.
Coach even mentioned the offensive line playing one of the best they have. To you, what did they look like today?
They were gritty, that was the key, going off the sideline, just feeding off their energy. They had great energy the whole time. When I went over there to talk to them and communicate each series, they were just hungry, ready to compete. So no matter what play we had, they were just ready to go.
What was the pregame message before the game?
The pregame message was just pretty much just play within ourselves. Play for, we set goals for ourselves, prior to the season starting, and those goals are still there, So the biggest thing was just put those goals that we had planned for us and just acknowledge that, and that was our message. All of our goals are still here, so that's the biggest thing. We're just trying to accomplish those.
Where do you feel like you've grown the most?
I think the biggest thing, just overall, just trying to get better. I think just trying to just get 1% better each and every day, and then acknowledging that I have a lot of work to do to just be successful as a quarterback. And I'm still building to this day. I'm still building. I'm just trying to get better, and I just want to be the best version of myself every time I walk into the facility and then play on Saturdays.
Talk about your connection with Amari tonight.
Yeah, Amari's a dog. We have him at tight end. It makes it easy to throw the football. He has a big target, big frame. He's a tight end, but he's built like a receiver, so he can run in space, and also he can catch acrobatic balls, and he's competitive. So Amari's a good guy to throw to, and he's hungry and ready to compete.
When the defense can get in the end zone, how much pressure does that take off you guys offensively and allow you to settle in?
A lot, a lot for sure. And like I said, our defense is great. Our defense plays their tails off, and they all hungry, ready to compete. And it makes our jobs easier, with just building off of their energy. They have great energy on and off the sideline. Then throughout the week, just preparing against them, and it helps us out so much.
How loud was it? How hard was it to hear with all the noise?
I will say this is a great atmosphere. It's definitely a great atmosphere out here. It's definitely loud. So I think our preparation was key, because we knew that coming here was gonna be loud. Coming here was gonna be super loud, so it was loud for sure.
There's a lot of short situations where you were in the gun or in the pistol, and against Ole Miss we saw you behind center. Is that something you're getting more comfortable with, getting under center, and just what's your mindset on that?
Yeah, so just whatever Coach Reese has in the game plan, I try to master it as much as possible. So throughout the week, whatever form of offense that we try to have, I just try to be, the best I can in that form of offense. So I just try to prepare as much as possible, and that factored in to Saturday or today.
Did you guys figure out some things communication-wise with the noise as the game went along? It seemed like there may have been some more issues earlier than towards the end.
Yeah, I would say Mississippi State brought it in the stands for sure, and that allowed us to to try to build a great game plan to combat that. So it was definitely loud out here, and but coming to the sideline, communicate with the team. We came on the same page, and we were straight the rest of the game.
Were you going off an audible snap count on the miscommunication one, or like what happened there?
Just miscommunication on our end. I could have been louder for our center, so that was on me.
Another good performance from Jace. Talk about his performance today.
Yeah, Jace is the dog. He brings it every single day, and then he balls today. And when you have a great running back like that, it takes a lot off of the passing game So he does a great job for us, and he's steadily trying to get better, and he did great today.
I think this was your first road SEC game since Arkansas last year. Did it feel like Arkansas just with the noise and whatnot?
Yeah, I'll say playing in SEC, it's always loud. No matter what the opponent is, playing in SEC is always super loud. But I'm just going to appreciate this win with the guys, with the team, because it was a group effort. It was a team win, and it took all 11 of us. And whether it was offense, defense, special team, it took all 11.
What did you learn tonight on the road with another tough one coming up next weekend?
I just acknowledge that we have a lot of things to get better on, a lot of things to improve on, and we're not a finished product. And so we have to acknowledge that in the locker room and just know that there's a lot of room to grow, and we're just hungry to get better.
Tell me about the first rushing touchdown. What did you see on that play?
Green grass, score, try to get some points on the board, roll tide.
Thanks. Roll tide indeed. Welcome back to the Bama Recap. I mean, he did see green grass, and he did see the end zone.
He did.
256, 576.
He outran two angles. I wish he'd do it more often. Because, I mean, again, he runs a true 4.4. It's not even a 4.5 or a 4.6. It's a 4.4, and he's 6'2". You're around him, Steve. 220 pounds. He's
a big boy.
He's a big dude, and he needs to deal some misery. And that with the way this team is going to be, I guess built this year, the identity is the running game.
Yeah.
And it needs to be also from the quarterback to help guys like Jace McClellan, to help and Roydell Williams. That's why I think the zone read has got to eventually be a staple of this offense, because you have to have some – you can't allow the defensive end to crash every time without consequence, because you're going to start having trouble running the ball between the tackles. You have to give them something to fear. And the fear is Milroe getting to the outside and being off to the races. Now, I'm going to be interested to see how they attack Texas A&M, because I don't think they can attack Texas A&M the same way they attacked Mississippi State. I think it's got to be a more varied running game. If it's not, then they're going to be in some trouble. And then last night, one of the funkiest plays they tried to run, which I think lost 5 yards, they tried a speed option.
Yeah.
And that was just total disaster into the short side of the field. It's got to be zone read, man. To me, that's the way. If you're going to do this with Milroe, I don't think he's even a natural option runner. Like, you can run the student body right or left where he runs a sweep.
Yeah.
But the option, no, he's not even. It's got to be a zone read type concept to me. Going forward to help the running game even more, and he has to be an even bigger part of it, because again, you go with your weapons, and they have weapons outside. They have some receivers, but it'll help the passing game too if you're able to run the football and your quarterback's feared as a runner. Then it's going to help open up the passing game. And so to me, you have to use what Milroe is gifted with, and it has to be, told to him repeatedly, bro, you've got to run the football. I mean, it's part of what you are. It's part of who you are. We want you to throw it, but you cannot be afraid to use your legs, because you can make explosive plays.
What did you think out of the brief times we saw Justice Haynes?
Oh, the run he made late where he spun, did the little Spinderella, he's got great talent. I mean, there's no question in my mind. I'll just be blunt. I think that Jason McClellan and Roydell Williams are outstanding players. I think they're really, really good players, but I think the two behind them are better players. But, you know how this goes. A lot of times when they're not as experienced as the other guys. Roydell has been the ultimate team player. Dude has been on every special team. Dude has done whatever they ask him to do. He does things right all the time. He doesn't get in trouble. He's a leader. So you're going to play him, okay? Because what he's done is waited for his opportunity. And he's a senior now, and he's somebody that stuck around, that could have gone elsewhere, that's always been about the team. And so you need guys like that on the field now. And Jam and Justice, especially Jam, you got to get better with the little things like blocking, picking up blitzes and stuff like that. And Jace is a real experienced player too, and a favorite of Coach Saban. So luckily Alabama's still got a really talented running back room, and they're not missing much. I just think the potential of the other two is even more than the two guys that are playing the majority of the snaps. But Alabama's running game, if Milroe will become a bigger part of it and a willing part of it, can be as good as any in the Southeastern Conference. And then on top of that, help Milroe develop as a passer potentially to make some big plays vertically.
There was a third down late I happened to be on the field for it. It was a 3rd and 11 on the Mississippi State 35-yard line. It was a pass to the right flat and an incompletion by Ty Simpson. Not a very catchable ball by Ty. And listen, I know I'm being critical of one pass, but he had an opportunity on a 3rd and 11 to do something, to show something. I know I'm reading a lot into one pass because all he had was one pass because the game was already decided at that point.
No, I mean, there's nothing much you can take out of that. I mean, the game was over.
Yeah.
They decided to put him in there with about 4 or 5 minutes
All I was
left.
looking for was for an accurate ball to give the wide receiver a chance. That's what I was looking for.
I was even surprised they let him throw.
Yeah.
I figured they would just hand it off. But I guess it was because it was a 3rd and long, and so
3rd and 11.
When they're teeing off on you, they basically if they think there's even a chance of throwing the football.
That's fair.
It's tough. It's
Yeah.
tough to be in a situation like that. So,
but you know what I'm saying? I would have loved to see a more catchable ball, but it was decent coverage by the DB on that play as well.
Yeah, I mean, he right now he's the number 2 guy. We'll see if that continues for the rest of the season. I did see that Buckner was on the trip. He was there as well. I've heard Lonergan's been getting more and more time in practice, but again, you got to have a backup plan because there was a scare there with Milroe. Once again, he held on to the ball too long and he took a hit on the sidelines.
Sure did.
And he went down funny, and I was like, I thought, we're about to see Ty Simpson, but he was able to shake it off and bounce back and show some good toughness there. But again, you're just one hit away, so you've got to have guys ready because if Milroe is going to become a bigger part of the ground game, which he needs to, you're going to take hits. So you got to have guys ready, because Milroe has not played a lot, but I just think for this team to reach its ceiling, and especially if they're going to win in Aggie land, they're going to have to show some things offensively that they haven't. As far as I'm sure they haven't shown all their hand. Well, they're going to have to add some more facets to it because DJ Durkin is a good defensive coordinator. A&M is a very talented roster. I mean, I feel bad for what I said about Mississippi State in Nashville because they look like they're the worst team in the West. But so far I feel pretty validated despite the turd they laid in Miami. Texas A&M is very talented, even with a quarterback injury. I mean, it hasn't mattered. I mean, they're a really good team, and I'll tell you what, I hate to say this because I really like him as a person, but I think Sam Pittman is in trouble. And I don't mean this year, but I mean if things don't start turning around by next year.
He's got a big one next week in Oxford.
He does, and I don't think they're going to win that
because
game.
Right after that, they play Bama.
I know,
the schedule does not get any easier.
I'm just saying, I think going into his 5th year next year, his seat's going to be scorching.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have to
Well, think about how
turn
much
it around.
changed off of that team roster-wise, mentality-wise, coordinator-wise.
No, he changed both coordinators and his entire strength staff.
I think he had 25 players go in the portal.
Yeah, he had a ton of guys go in the portal. Some turned pro. So there's been a lot of turnover, and yet their roster is still considered pretty good. But the offensive system with KJ Jefferson
I
doesn't
thought they
look like
I
a
thought they
fit.
played better than LSU, but LSU found a way to win.
And
Bottom
then-
line.
Well, and then they didn't play well yesterday.
No,
I mean,
they did not.
They got
No, they
dominated,
did not.
and so their offense and Sam Pittman's
The
baby
offensive
is the
line,
offensive line
and they
is their
look
biggest
awful.
their biggest weakness.
They look bad. They look bad.
If you listen, and I do listen to Trey Biddy because I think he's always got the pulse of it. He basically said he thinks the football team is really good except for the offensive line. The offensive line is by far and away and as he said, this is year 4. He's like, this is year 4, guys. You know, you've got to start progressing. I think everybody likes Sam Pittman. He goes, but you need this program to get over the hump.
Yeah,
and it's like backsliding, I guess, because right now you could argue that the 2 worst teams in the SEC West look like Mississippi State and Arkansas.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, that's fair to say. Very fair to say. It's the Bama Recap Show presented by Freedom Marine Center. We're walking up to Braves baseball, and we'll dive more into the entire conference coming up on the other side of our final timeout. But we're usually not on during this time, but we are because of Falcon football. The Falcons lost to the Jags 23-7. That gives me time to give you a scoreboard update. The Bills are up over the Dolphins 14-7 is that score. We'll see whether or not the Dolphins can put up another 70-burger today, but it's a little more loftier competition. Speaking of that competition, the Broncos are at Chicago. That's a tie game at 7 in the second quarter as well between the Bears and the Broncos. Panthers are up 10-0 over the Vikings, the winless bowl right there. And is Bryce playing in this one? He is. Bryce is 3 of 5 for 34 yards. He missed last week. That's why I uttered the question out loud right there. So nice to see Bryce back in action. The Ravens are up on the Brownies 7-3. That is late first quarter. The Texans are up 10-0 over the Steelers. It was nice to see Coach get a win last week for the Houston Texans, and D'Amico is. It's amazing how much talent on and off the field there is in the National Football League with that University of Alabama on their bio. The Rams are blanking the Colts right now, 14-0. That is just starting the second quarter. The Saints are up 3-0 over the Buccaneers. That's late first quarter. The Eagles and Commanders, or Redskins, whatever you want to call them, they're tied at 7 in the second quarter. And just up the road in Nashville, it's the Bengals and the Titans tied at 3. Early second quarter, Joe Burrow is 5 of 8 for 57 yards. Ryan Tannehill is 3 of 5 for 15 yards. And some guy named Derrick Henry has ran the ball 6 times for 21 yards. So that's your NFL scoreboard update that we usually don't have the opportunity to provide you because we're not on. Your final scores from Thursday: Lions were better than the Packers in every way imaginable, 34-20, and the Jags down the Falcons 23-7. Those are your final scores. We're going to go around the SEC on the other side and get you ready for Aggies and the Crimson Tide redemption tour, sort of. Of course, the last time they were in Aggie land. We'll be right back.
There's nothing like the freedom you feel when you're on the water in your own boat from Freedom Marine in Guntersville. New or used, Freedom Marine has just the boat to make your time on the water the best it can be. Pontoons, fishing, ski boats, you name it. And all season long, Freedom Marine is giving away 4 packs of Alabama football tickets. Just log on the Freedom Marine Facebook page and like, share, and comment to be eligible. New and used boats, outboard sales, financing, service, and parts. It's Freedom Marine. Highway 431 in Guntersville and online at freedommarincenter.com.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, "If you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself."
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance, to the home builders and the homeowners,
of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time, or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
There's nothing like the freedom you feel when you're on the water in your own boat from Freedom Marine in Guntersville. New or used, Freedom Marine has just the boat to make your time on the water the best it can be. Pontoons, fishing, ski boats, you name it. And all season long, Freedom Marine is giving away 4 packs of Alabama football tickets. Just log on the Freedom Marine Facebook page and like, share, and comment to be eligible. New and used boats, outboard sales, financing, service, and parts. It's Freedom Marine. Highway 431 in Guntersville and online at freedommarincenter.com.
Hi, this is Eli Gold. 28 Southeastern Conference football championships, 18 national championships. This is Alabama football, and your home for the Crimson Tide Sports Network is 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
It's the Bama Recap Show. Nick Saban is now 16-1. And SEC road openers since he arrived in Tuscaloosa in 2007. The lone loss coming in Oxford, Mississippi back in 2014. Not too shabby at all. Coach Saban is 18-4 overall in opening road games in the Southeastern Conference. That includes his time down in Baton Rouge. But 16-1. That is just a ridiculous number to wrap your head around. There are so many numbers surrounding Coach Saban that are ridiculous, but 16-1 road openers.
Yeah, it's pretty. It doesn't get much better than that unless you were 17-0. And I mean, again,
there's a reason Hugh's down on the Plains.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that one loss that was at Ole Miss.
Hugh, yeah.
And so, and Hugh and his Tigers played well yesterday.
Yes, they did.
Not being able to throw the football eventually bit them. But, they ran it well and had a good plan. Their defense really competed hard. It's just Brock Bowers is a college football Hall of Fame player, and if he's not a top 5 pick, fire every front office in the NFL.
Peyton Thorne was 10 of 19 for 82 yards. He ran the ball for 92 yards on 12 carries, but the bulk of them came on a carry very early. A 61-yard carry early in that game. Auburn went for it in the second quarter on 4th down. Let me see if I can't pull up the exact location of that turnover on downs, because those points, at least for me, I was thinking about those points in the fourth quarter when I was listening to Andy Burcham and Jason Campbell, because those points would have been nice to have. And let's be honest and let's be real here. Auburn's kicker is just as reliable as Alabama's kicker. And I realize there's an age difference, but at least what we've seen out of the gate, I believe he's hit 11 in a row out of the gate.
McPherson's an outstanding talent. Anybody that saw him at Fort Payne knew he would be. And he decided not to ruin his life and go to Florida. His brother did, but it worked out for him. And he's now with the Bengals and been to a Super Bowl. But obviously, Auburn's had a great tradition of kickers, and I kid about Florida. I think Billy Napier's trying to dig them the way out of there, the Dan Mullen hole.
Yesterday surprised me a little.
Oh, it surprised me a lot. I thought Florida would win a close one.
I thought Kentucky was going to win, but I didn't think they'd win that way.
I just didn't think Florida would get overpowered in the trenches the way they did.
Yeah.
Now, it was my first time extensively watching Kentucky. Love Ray Davis. Love the way he plays.
Yeah,
I knew he was a good player when he was at Vandy, but he's really, really good.
Yeah.
He's probably the best running back I've seen at Kentucky, including Rodriguez, who I always thought was underrated for his 4 years there. But Ray Davis is outstanding. I just wish they had a quarterback because I think they have some pretty good receivers. I don't like Leary, and that's why I don't like Kentucky's chances of beating Georgia. I know Jeff's going to call in Monday and blast me because I picked Florida in a close one, and they dominated Florida. But Georgia's a different animal, and so I want to
we'll see
what happened.
I've
now,
seen,
if they beat Georgia, I may live to regret it. They may finally go to Atlanta.
So this is 2 weeks in a row that I've seen this
chance.
Georgia team. They don't look like they're on the same page. I don't want to pivot over to OC, and I know that's different, but the quarterback is different as well.
He's a young quarterback like Milroe.
Yeah.
I thought he responded well in the pressure situations and delivered some really good balls, and he responded. And Georgia, I don't know that they have a dynamic running back, but they have good backs. They have a good offensive line. I think their defense is good. I don't know that it's great. That's why Kentucky has a chance. But here's the deal: I still think to beat Georgia, you've got to have a quarterback. You've got to have a really good quarterback to make the decisions, because I do think Kirby will scheme and be able to at least slow Ray Davis down.
Yeah.
I mean, Florida came in with one of the top 2 to 3 defenses in the SEC. I guess number 1, but they played poorly. They were dominated in the trenches. I don't expect Georgia to be dominated in the trenches. I think they're going to play well. And so that's where it's going to be a little bit different for me, because I think Georgia has a much more talented roster than Florida.
LSU, the last 2 weeks, their defense have just been shredded.
Oh, their defense is, as Moscona and T-Bob said last night, is Pelini bad. I mean, it's just about as bad as it was in 2020, if not. I mean, it's just it is. I mean, anytime you give up. And Alabama gave up 52 in regulation to Tennessee last year, but there was what's the common denominator? Pete Golding. So you know what I'm saying. So I mean I don't know. They thought Matt House was doing a good job last year. Now they're off the bandwagon with that. But they do have talented players, but I do think one of the biggest problems, and Matt Moscona told us this in Nashville, he's come on the show and on Talking Ball and told us this, is the secondary. The secondary is just not that good.
Yeah.
Losing Corey Raymond has really hurt it, as far as development and recruiting.
Yeah.
And so they just, it's just not, their secondary is not up to par right now. It's not very good. And it's affected their front seven as well. And Mason Smith, he's coming back from an injury. He hasn't been the same player yet. They've been trying to move Harold Perkins around, and they I think that's one of the reasons they lost to Florida State. But they do have a really, really good offensive team. I'll give Jaden Daniels credit. His development has been astonishing to watch, because he is another very instinctive runner that you have to deal with, because he always seems to know the times to run.
Yeah.
But my Lord, his ball placement this year has been amazing. I mean, his ability to throw the ball and be effective and throw it vertically.
Yeah.
I mean, he's hard to defend, man. I'll be honest, when you play LSU, you're going to have to outscore them, because they're going to score points.
Preseason's over for Missouri.
Oh, this will be really interesting.
Over for we're going to find out how good Missouri is.
Well, we're going to find out how hungover LSU is too, because they were not expecting to be out of all the conversation. They're already out of.
It's October 1st.
I know.
It's October 1st.
And they've already. It's October the 1st. And they're already out of the playoff race, very likely. Now, they're not out of the SEC race.
No.
They've only got one loss.
Yeah, but
the Western Division looks wide open, but they're very likely out of the college football playoff conversation. And after what happened in baseball and women's basketball, I think some folks in Baton Rouge just thought, well, we're just miraculously gonna.
It's year 2.
Yeah,
magical year 2.
Yeah, we're gonna win the national championship in football, and it's not there.
Bye-bye.
Not there yet. So. But again, and the Lane Train, you knew he was disgusted with how they played last week, and he thought it was embarrassing.
He looked as mad as I've ever seen.
I'm not surprised that they had something for LSU and that they were going to play well, and they did.
Well, let's briefly talk about the Aggies and not only how they looked, but matchup-wise. coming up this weekend between Alabama and Texas A&M?
It's going to be tough. I mean, Alabama's going to have to continue to be efficient and not turn the ball over. They got to win the plus minus. They got to turn A&M over.
That was a fairly clean game penalty wise yesterday as well.
Yeah, they got to keep the penalties down to probably 3 or 4 or less, and they've got to be able to run the football, of course, with this group. I mean, this is not a team, Steve, that's going to be able to drop back 35, 40 times and throw it. They're going to probably have to keep it between 20 and 25, and they're going to have to control the line of scrimmage. The offensive line has to continue to progress. But what we're going to have to see, I'll just go ahead and say it, we're going to have to see the best game from Jalen Milroe that he's ever played in his career. He's going to have to keep the turnovers to 1 or less. He's going to need to run the football, apply for 100 yards. They need the zone read to be a part of it. He needs to be a willing runner, and then he needs to make them pay when they have to, load the box, throwing the football. He's got to throw it on time, protect it. He probably hit some vertical throws in this game because, again, he didn't have to against Mississippi State. And then if Alabama I think it's going to be a close game. I like Alabama's chances if they've got the ball late with Will Reichert, because I think Will Reichert's the best kicker in the United States, and he's been money so far. And if they can get the game into the fourth quarter with 5 minutes to go and they've got a lead, or if
that defense in particular, Bama's defense is going to keep you in every game
it
that
should.
you play.
I mean, hopefully they'll play better against the run this week. They need Deontay Lawson back. I've heard there's a good chance he'll be back. But they need to pressure Max Johnson, move him off his spot, and, again, potentially get 2 or 3 turnovers and try to win this game. But it's going to be a very tough environment, and we'll see if the Jalen Milroe is the long-term answer at quarterback with this game coming up.
Thank you very much, Drew DeArmond. Braves baseball comes up next as they wind down the regular season. It's the final game of the regular season today. We'll talk more about Aggies and the Crimson Tide this week, all right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. A big thank you to Freedom Marine Center for being our presenting sponsor each and every week. We will be back at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. Roll Tide, everybody.
Power up your capability.
It's time for Atlanta Braves baseball, and we're covering all the bases before the game on the Ford Leadoff Show.
1-1 pitch. Here's a deep drive to left center field. This thing is clear for takeoff.
The Braves Network crew is live from the Battery Atlanta at Truist Park with a conversation with Braves manager Brian Snicker before the game and exclusive audio from the clubhouse.
Line drive, base hit left field. He went the other way. Acuna's in. Clutch 0-2 pitch to Olsen. He comes through with a 2-run single.
It's all presented by your local Ford dealer, proud sponsor of your Atlanta Braves. Now live from Truist Park, it's the